Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. What we're going to do today is jump into part 2 in this series on night fishing. I want to cover moon phases and their impact on your fishing. A lot of people talk about the full moon and how good that bite can be, and if you're going to go out night fishing, you go on the full moon because then you can see and the fishing is good. But the reality is the new moon is as good, if not better, in a lot of circumstances. So I want to cover some of how this works so that you can choose the best days for you to fish. And I should start with a little bit of a disclaimer. If you're one of those guys that doesn't get to get out a whole lot, you get on the water once or twice a month if you're lucky, maybe a little bit more, you should disregard this entire video, because for you guys, you've got to fish when you can. You want your confidence to be as high as possible. Just go fish, have a great time, because even on days that don't have the highest odds, you can definitely still stumble into a bunch of big fish. All I'm talking about doing here is increasing your odds of finding big fish. So what we're going to do, the first thing I want to do is show you this moon phase calendar. This is for the coming month. This is for July. You've got a new moon on the 1st. You've got a full moon on the 15th. That's what's coming up. Now the way this works, I don't know why. I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not a biologist. I don't know all the details of why bass do what they do. I've just fished for them a long time, and I've patterned them for a long time, taken a lot of notes on my fishing to see these trends in when fish bite. What I've learned from my own experience is that the big fish tend to feed on a 3-day cycle if nothing interferes with them. So if you want to get serious, if you really want to go out and find big fish, you should typically take a 3-day window. Be prepared to fish 3 nights in a row, and you're going to encounter those bigger bites. But if you guys want to target the biggest fish, again, I don't know why, but you're going to fish the 3 days before and after the new moon and before and after the full moon. So the new moon's coming up July 1st. You're going to fish the last 3 days of June through the first 3 days of July. That 6-day window around that new moon is a phenomenal opportunity to get those big bites. Same thing with the full moon. Full moon's on the 15th, so you could fish anywhere from the 12th to the 18th and have a shot, if you fish a 3-day window, of getting involved with some really, really big fish. Now again, that's not a guarantee, but those are your best days out of the entire month to fish. Those 12 days will be better than all the other days. Now, jumping into this a little bit more, how do you pick a moon phase? General rule of thumb, we're going to keep this really, really simple. If you are on a lake with fairly murky water, you're going to primarily fish full moon, or the days around the full moon. If you're in a clear water fishery, you're going to fish new moon. It's very, very simple. The bass want to be able to feed with as much ease as possible. If you're in crystal clear water and it's a bright full moon and the fish are up shallow, it might as well be the middle of the day. Nobody's fooling anybody. The water's lit up. All the fish can see. The bass can't ambush their prey any better than they can at noon the next afternoon. So if you're in that clear water fishery, you fish that new moon where there's a lot of shadows, everything is dark, and those bass are able to feed much more effectively. On the other end, you're in that murky water. On a new moon, it's so dark that obviously the bass can still see, they can still feel. But when you get that full moon coming in there, you get that bright light shining down in that murky water, it just ups their advantage that much more. They know that, so they target more on those full moons. So that 6-day window on the full moon, that's your time to shine. Just take that general rule of thumb. I'm not going to make it any more complicated than that. Take that rule of thumb, fish those 6-day windows around the new moon and the full moon. You're going to find yourself around bigger fish more often. Have a good one. We'll talk soon.